threat of disaster is never pleasant.
Welcome to the Casual Preppers podcast.
These safety measures are essential.
The only place for prepping, survival, and entertainment.
This will be your source of survival instructions and information. Every member of the family must be coached in the business of survival.
Here are your hosts, Cam and Kobe.
Good morning.
Good morning, yeah. We're doing this at an odd time today. It's very odd.
Smells like camp, breakfast burrito.
Yeah, we had some breakfast burritos, man. We're
ready to go.
Quite the morning here, isn't it?
It's quite the morning.
And we're really excited because we have a really fun topic today.
We do. We've wanted to get back to this one for some time, right?
Yes, we have, yeah.
The martial law portion. So, yeah, we're going to talk today about civil unrest and martial law.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the gold standard thing about our podcast, right? The looting, the carrying a microwave, hook hands, like it's going all back to that.
Yes, it is.
But we're going to get into the details of
new listeners are going,
civil.
what the hell are they
That's
talking
true.
about?
We do have new listeners.
Like, what?
Probably, maybe, or no listeners. I don't know.
Microwave.
But yeah, looting, that's what you always see, right? Is people smashing storefronts and carrying off of microwaves.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably one of the most likely SHTF events to happen, and that's why we want to get into it and talk about it. We're going to break down what sparks it, how fast it can escalate, and how we as preppers can stay safe and out of the crossfire.
Yeah, man. The Collapse Chronicles rolls on.
Yeah.
We're excited about that.
We're also LA one going on right now still, probably.
Slightly, yeah.
Oh.
By the time this comes out, hopefully it's over, but who knows?
That's true. I don't even know. Does it come out on Christmas?
Yeah, no, a couple weeks. I got to tell you about BattleBox, though. It is the monthly subscription box full of solid gear for adventure seekers, survivalists, outdoor enthusiasts, and casual preppers. Each month, BattleBox sends you the coolest selection of handpicked outdoor survival and everyday carry gear, all valued at far more than what you'd normally pay. You never know what's in the next box, but here's a sampling of what users received this month. The vacuum sealer machine, food preservation. That's pretty freaking cool. How
Really
about the
cool.
Ruckin' River Coosa? River. Coosa chef knife set.
That's pretty sweet.
That's pretty sweet. Really cool. All this badassness starts at just $34.99 per month. They've shipped over 1 million boxes and won best subscription box of 2020. Our listeners get 15% off when you sign up at battlebox.com/casual preppers. Get your first BattleBox and 15% off at battlebox.com/casual preppers.
Yes, sir. We're going to even give you a review on this
we
box
are.
later.
We definitely are. So let's talk about civil unrest and within that martial law as part of that. And we want to talk about why it's likely. And it feels like really these days civil unrest isn't rare. It feels like it's just like this. You're right over there. Did you hurt yourself?
You got my pop caught on the freaking
I see.
mic.
He's all right, though.
In the lip.
Yeah, he got through it, though. We're all good. So, yeah, it feels like civil unrest at this point is not rare in the world. It just seems like it's routine. Like there's always somewhere where there's rioting and crazy things happening.
You turn on the news, it's happening somewhere. Like,
yeah.
like world news is going to hit somewhere, or it's in the U.S.
Almost always it's happening. And it just feels like these days it doesn't take much to set it off. Like, it's a video of something happening. It's some sort of somebody gets arrested that's controversial in some way, shape, or form, or maybe it's an unpopular policy. Any one of these can spark protests, riots, and violence, and it doesn't take long, especially now with social media. That stuff just like wildfire.
Yeah.
And then everybody's out there.
It's crazy to me.
Smashing
it's like everybody's
windows.
just like on edge, ready to just start smashing things.
Yes. It does feel like people
Like,
are
always,
enjoying
it's
it
like
now.
People that, you would never think would do it. Just like all of a sudden, like, I'm going to bust this car up.
Yeah. And that does happen. We've talked about that in the past when everybody gets together. It's like that mindset flips.
It's true.
And it's like, it's okay to do these things now. I mean, we can look what's recently happened in LA. Cam alluded to that earlier, but there were some, somewhat aggressive ICE raids that happened. And then the protests turned into like full-blown riots over there. They had to shut down some freeways. You shut down a freeway in LA, oh my gosh.
There's only one.
And there's 9
all merging
billion
into
cars.
They're all merging into it.
So they had to shut down some freeways. Stores were obviously looted. That's, a classic civil unrest trope.
Yeah.
Looting.
Do you feel like you go? If you feel like you go to LA any other time, you're like, is there civil unrest?
Is there always
happening?
civil? The LA people are going to be pissed at us. They don't like us.
Mad.
Over 250 people were arrested so far in these things. And even the National Guard and U.S. Marines were deployed. And depending on when you're listening, right, it may have gotten worse, spread to other cities, or it might be all done by now. But as we're talking about this, it kind of feels like it's on the tail end of these protests.
Right. Or we just stopped airing it on the news.
Exactly. We stopped it. So look, man, people are stretched thin. They're kind of done. They're done with everybody's crap. When it comes down to it, like everybody's been laid off, or there's this insane inflation, rent and mortgages are I don't know how people rent houses or own houses anymore.
I have no idea.
I don't get
it. In those like coastal states, like holy
it's insane,
crap.
man. Gas prices, they're not getting any better for some reason, and then they're probably going to get worse now with all this Iran stuff going on. All this builds pressure, right? And there's fear and there's frustration, and it doesn't take much to have an entire city just freaking snap, lose their brains, and everybody starts rioting. The world continues to be more divided than ever, it feels like. Political, racial, economic tension, it feels like it's just a part of every day. You can't turn on the news without hearing that kind of stuff. And then people start to feel like maybe they were ignored or they've been pushed too far. They react, and then they explode. And that's when you get this kind of crazy stuff. And it does feel like trust in the entire system is almost gone. And I'm talking about trust in your government, trust in your media, all that kind of stuff. Everybody's like, I don't trust one damn person in the whole damn world.
So, yeah, I was like,
right?
Society and like the place you live, you stop trusting everything around you.
Yeah. Even like law enforcement, obviously, right? So
even that, yeah.
People
crazy.
don't know who to believe, don't know what to believe. And all that kind of mistrust, it fuels this chaos that can, turn into civil unrest. And then we have this thing called social media, which is not a help in these situations.
No.
Unfortunately, it is literally like throwing gas on a fire in these types of situations. The outrage goes viral like instantly. It does not take long for the outrage to go across the country, across the world from one small little incident, and then everybody's putting different flags on their profiles, and everybody's using hashtags. And
it's just, anything to get views, too. You get videos from protests that are like 10 years ago that are like, this is happening right now. It's like, no, it isn't.
Yeah.
So it just makes it all worse.
So just a simple protest, and here's the thing, too. Protests are a different thing. Protests are your right.
Welcomed.
Go ahead and protest, but it needs to be peaceful, right? But those protests become riots very quickly. Yeah, it doesn't take much. A lot of times people who are joining in, they don't even know what they're just out there to break shit. Like they don't even know what they're mad at.
I know.
Or protesting about, right? It's just
think a lot just jump in because they want to be crazy.
They want to be crazy, or they're
lawless.
sick of their life and they're just like, screw it. I'm going balls to the wall. I'm going to break stuff and burn stuff and throw things at people. You know what I mean?
Or they're hired in.
Hired in. Yeah, man. Whoa, wait, we're getting deep now, Cameron. I wasn't going to get there yet, but those, we're talking conspiracy, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of people believe is happening too, but we've seen it over and over and over. 2020, we had protests. We had Ferguson, Paris, Sri Lanka, Canada even. They had that trucker blockade a few years back, right? And now we're talking about Los Angeles. It isn't some rare event. This is a thing that it feels like a new normal for the world. And that's why it's really important for us to discuss this, because it kind of feels like a commonplace. Yeah, it's a civil unrest, it's a riot, no big deal. Happens all the time. You can't look at it that way, especially as a prepper. You have to be aware of the things that are happening, and you have to understand how to stay safe if you get caught in those things.
Yep.
Or how to avoid those things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so and I think and you'd mentioned a lot of these, but and that's why we do it, is because this doesn't just come out of nowhere. Like, there usually are triggers, and there's those are the things you should kind of pay attention to and see, like, is it leading up to something that I could get caught up in? So some of those triggers you'd mentioned, but we'll go over a few here real quick. So economic inequality and hardship. Obviously, that just gets people pretty riled up, and it's getting worse.
It is getting worse.
Like more unemployment, the wealth disparities in wealth, rising costs of living, difficulties with groceries and inflation and all of that stuff. It just makes people crazy and irritable and mad. And so,
and it feels unfair. Like, I'm honestly like worried for my kids. Like,
Me
how
too.
are they gonna make it?
I know.
And what's like, how are they ever gonna buy a house? How are they ever gonna afford groceries and have kids? Like, it scares me. Like, we're okay. I mean,
we're in a position where we're
fine.
stable enough.
Yes.
But it's still a hardship.
it's not easy.
And then they have no chance of starting out.
Yeah, I mean,
unless
I hope
things change.
I hope
right?
things change, but it's really, really tough out there.
Yeah.
I get it, man.
So it's definitely this is a huge one, and this is growing.
Yeah.
Even more each day. And then there's always the political oppression and corruption.
Yep.
And I won't go into a lot of this because people get kind of worked up, even
Do
on
they?
the podcast, probably. Authoritarian
Yeah.
rule and suppression of dissent, lack of democratic participation, fraudulent elections, widespread government corruption. I mean, it is happening, and we see it. And it just, like,
Yeah.
the political divide in the last, 5-10 years is just, like,
15 even. Yeah.
becoming very, very intense.
And
Like,
when you say those things, like, your mind, like, immediately goes to like third world countries that, they have all these issues
Yeah.
in their government. But you know what? Our government isn't much better.
No.
Like, when I say our government, I mean the U.S. I mean, and then you could look at the U.K., you could look at Canada, you can look at all of them. None
is
of them
better,
are great.
but for some reason, it's just
Yeah.
a mess lately.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, most of the things that you can think of in the last 5-10 years is typically like social injustice and discrimination. Race, ethnicity, religion, gender, all that stuff factors in and creates a deep division and fuels protests. Like, people just get super mad. And
Whether
it is,
it's-
like, rightfully so, it makes you upset, but shouldn't lead to riots and chaos. But
Whether
it
it's
usually-
real or perceived, that kind of depends
Yeah.
there. Sometimes it's, a little overblown. Sometimes it's not.
Sometimes it's not. Yeah, for
But
sure.
go ahead and, like we said, protest all you want. In fact, I encourage protesting, but
Yeah, the
You don't
protesting
need to-
is okay.
you don't need to steal microwaves
No,
and, punch
you
cops.
don't need to smash all the windows in the street that you're protesting
Yeah,
on. You don't need to do
it's not an excuse to get the new Reeboks. It's not.
Right.
Okay?
it. Yeah, the diamond cells,
Yes. British Knights
British Knights.
or the catapults
Yeah, you don't need those.
that Carl Malone used to wear.
and they're
Remember
behind a
the
window for a reason. You got to save up and earn money and get those.
You remember the catapults?
I remember the catapults.
Those were I wanted those so bad when
Yeah.
I was like 12 years
I
old.
totally remember my brother buying some.
Oh,
and
did
we
you
went
get the
hiking,
catapults?
and he's like, "Man, they feel so good."
I'd jump over the
Like,
damn mountain.
coming down the
It
hill.
was just the dumbest idea when you
It's
think
just
about
a rubber
it.
ball.
Yeah,
we cut it open.
Oh my gosh, it's so dumb.
Yeah, we cut them open when they were
Yeah.
done being used for mowing the lawn and swimming
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
canal.
Swimming in the canal. Yeah, I had something like that.
Yeah, but and then the downside with the social injustice and discrimination is sometimes you see police brutality and misconduct, and that pisses people off even further. Like,
Yeah,
it can be bad, and it can be like humans can be awful towards each other.
Yeah, and the
On
hard
both
part
sides.
is then it gets blown out of proportion. Like, yeah, those things absolutely do happen, but social media makes you feel like every cop is out there,
a nightmare, right?
which is obviously not true.
Right.
No.
No.
But the ones that are,
Yeah.
yes, you
there
should be
are
protesting.
some horrible police,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
then you have the general large amount of police are there to help.
Yes.
And you're like, everybody looks at them like they're gonna,
Yeah.
beat them to death.
Yeah. But again, this is coming from two middle-aged white guys.
Exactly.
So
that's true.
our perceptions are slightly different. So.
And then you've got loss of civil liberties, restrictions on freedom of speech, and
Yeah.
assembly, and other fundamental rights can provoke strong public backlash. That's like those protests. A lot of people feel are suppressed, and they feel like they're not able to do those, and then it leads to even more.
And you can even talk about social media there again too, because there's been some social media platforms that have been
They will.
suppressing
They'll edit,
certain
they'll
ideas
drop
and
stuff out and
Yep.
pull it out.
So-
close down your account. It's true, and that makes people mad.
it makes me mad.
Spike your phone, bust some car windows.
Bussy it up.
And then, you get your rapid social, cultural changes,
Mm.
societal norms and values, and resistance to such changes
Mm-hmm.
can create tension and conflict between different groups.
Sure can.
Then you've got environmental degradation and resource scarcity. Resources lead to a lot of anger.
Sure.
Basically, like we see with is it the China Sea? No, what is it? We're China's like capturing all these different islands and claiming them as theirs. It's like you see this just frustrating a lot of people because they're taking advantage by getting more and more resources.
Sure.
But you could see that with us too. I mean, we want Greenland. I mean, it's like, I don't know, some crazy stuff. But, and this could result in many things, weather destruction. We'll talk about this at some point, right? Cyber attacks, power grid failures, issues like prolonged droughts, resource depletion, climate change things. It just gets people all riled up.
Yeah.
We've even seen, to me, it's crazy when you see those like environmentalists like turns like really sour fast.
Oh, for sure.
It's like, holy crap.
Yep.
Just talking about saving the planet, I think it would be that big of a deal. And then obviously, and you've mentioned this several times, misinformation and disinformation, which is strongly the catalyst to all this is social media. I mean, really, it's like what news is accurate and where are you getting it from and who's saying what, and people are posting stuff, and it just deepens divisions and it inflames tensions and it makes things like worse. And another thing is like maybe it's just like a exciting sporting event.
Sure.
That, you know, your team wins, and for some reason they just burn the whole city down.
They just burn down Oklahoma
all
City
the time. It blows my mind.
It is crazy.
So it's like you would think like these are all other intense things, but then there's like this exciting event that's a sporting event. Your team wins, and then like everything just goes out the window. Like no one has
with
any
those
law.
Soccer games overseas, man.
Yeah, exactly.
They go
like in
nuts.
Argentina when they won, it's just like
there's
some chaos
down
going
there
on
too. Yeah, it's nuts, man.
So you never know. There's a lot of things that can trigger these riots, but you should. I mean, the most important thing is just being aware and, you know, keeping up on these things so you can kind of see where it's leading to. And maybe, especially if you live in those big cities or near those big cities, it's like it will probably affect you.
Yeah, again, man, when I was in Chicago this year, I could not stop thinking about a situation where there was riots and civil unrest, and I got caught in the middle of it.
It's terrifying.
It was honestly like I started spiraling for a second. I'm like, that is terrifying. Like I don't know what to do.
Crying.
I was crying in the back of the Uber.
What's your problem?
Yeah,
I just worried about riots.
What if there's a riot? Yeah, so it's just something to consider. And then, you know, civil unrest is one thing, but what about when that turns into martial law, you know, which has happened in the past. So let's talk about when civil unrest turns to martial law. It usually starts with local law enforcement getting overwhelmed. Right?
Yeah.
That's usually when it happens. There's too many people. There's too much chaos. There's not enough officers to contain it. We've seen it a lot, actually. This happens. And so once that happens, the mayor or the governor is like, hey, guys, I need some help in here. I need some support. And then that's when you start to see things that maybe aren't all the way into martial law, but are, you know, part of the whole thing of martial law. They start to put curfews in place. Right? I mean, that's one of the big ones. Like, at 9 p.m., you need to be in bed going to sleep. Okay?
Nobody likes curfews.
Nobody likes curfews. That pisses people off. The roads and freeways start getting blocked, and then they start bringing in the National Guard, right? And it's not just police. Now we're talking about military people on the streets, and that's when people start to freak out. And I understand it. And that's what happened in L.A. when you know, the National Guard were deployed to those different areas to help I mean, they weren't like really policing people. They were more just like keeping people away from certain assets. Right.
Which is what they're supposed to do.
It's what they're supposed to do. But that's when it starts to feel like martial law, and it starts to feel like those things are going on. And then when that switch kind of flips, there's like these emergency powers that kick in, and that's where it gets really scary. In martial law, because the government can do some things that they're not able to do at other times. They can pause your right to assemble, so that protest is now no longer legal. They can just say you can't do it. Yeah. It's over. So don't go out there, you know, and that feels horrible when they have to do that, right? They can restrict your freedom of movement. You can't go here. You can't go there. That feels not great either.
People are going to comply real well.
Oh, yeah, really. They love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'll do that. You want me to put on a mask? I'll do that too. Right? They might even monitor your phone or shut down the internet in those situations. And they can detain people without charges under public safety orders.
Wow.
So they just start getting you and taking you to wherever they want to, and with no charges. It's scary.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that gets really scary when it comes to martial law, right? So the optics can change really fast in these situations, and that's, what started as a protest now starts to feel like this third world war
Yeah,
zone.
you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I don't live in the United States anymore?
Yeah. And that's when you start to see these other things that optically are kind of scary, like riot shields and armored vehicles and like tear gas and stuff, right? Sandbags, military helicopters flying around the town. That's creepy, and you've seen it in all the movies, right? Surveillance drones and crowd control weapons. I mean, they bring out those like high-powered hoses, rubber bullets, and
nets and
the sound weapons that they've got these days, which are really, really crazy. So, and then if things get
that
worse,
sound weapon's crazy.
I know. Federal agencies start to, step in, DHS, FBI, even the Marines, like we're seeing, in LA. It starts local, but it can go national very, very fast. So for the average person, this becomes a whole different kind of emergency here. You're not just avoiding protest zones, which, don't go down Main Street between here and here and here. No, you're actually navigating military checkpoints. You're wondering if it's even legal to leave your neighborhood at this point. So martial law gets very scary. We're going to talk about some specifics of when it's happened in the past, but boy, civil unrest can turn to martial law, and it doesn't take long.
No.
Especially these days.
I think everybody's pretty terrified about the whole possibility of martial law.
Yeah.
And they mistakenly assume it, this is martial law.
No, it's not. No, it's definitely not. I do have to tell you about Element, though. As people want to be prepared and ready for anything, the last thing you need is something that will slow you down when you need to be ready the most. That's why we at Casual Preppers have teamed up with Element. It is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing that you don't. We think it's perfect for bug-out bags, EDC kits, riot kits, all kits. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. Casual Preppers listeners can get a free Element sample pack of the most popular drink flavors when you make any purchase through our exclusive Casual Preppers link. They offer no questions asked refunds on all orders. You don't even have to send it back. This offer may be claimed by first-time and returning Element customers, but you got to go to our link. That is drinkelement.com/casualpreppers. You get your order and your free sample pack with any purchase. That is drinklmnt.com/casualpreppers.
Yes.
Go get it.
Delicious.
It is delicious.
Yeah, so talk about some real world examples. And this isn't just a history lesson. I want you to listen for the details of like how it triggered these events and how easily it could happen, in your town or something like that.
Yeah.
So 2020 U.S. protests of George Floyd's death sparked protests in all 50 states. Like, it wasn't just isolated to the area. Like, it pissed the whole nation off.
Yep.
And many with curfews and National Guard deployment, aka martial law is what a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly.
So this was the killing of George Floyd, a black man, by a white police officer. And it was super unfortunate. It was horrible.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And the protests rapidly spread across all 50 states and internationally, demonstrating the widespread resonance of the underlying issues and the power of social media.
Even Alaska, huh? They were up there protesting.
I'm sure.
Jeez.
Who knows?
Too cold to protest up there.
I know, seriously. But yeah, the imposition of curfews and the deployment of the National Guard in many areas reflected governmental attempts to control the unrest. And this only escalated, tensions, made people feel like they couldn't protest and they couldn't be part of this movement of trying to, stop this kind of thing from happening. It brought a renewed attention to racial inequality and policing practices. Still to this day, I mean, it's affected everything.
It was definitely a trigger to a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then
unfortunate use of trigger, but
was that
trigger.
2020?
2020,
yeah,
I believe.
What a year!
What a year! Crazy year, yeah.
2014, Ferguson.
Wow, was that 2014?
I know. That's why I was like looking at the dates. Small town unrest becomes a national story. Tear gas, MRAPs, military optics. So this was the fatal shooting of Michael Brown, an unarmed black teenager.
It was 2014.
Was it?
Yeah, I
was
had to double check.
Sure, yeah.
Felt like a
by
long time
a police officer, ignited protests and drew national attention and international scrutiny.
Yeah.
Again, it's very similar to the previous, but this one happened first.
Yeah.
Visual presence of heavily armed police, including armored vehicles, during the response to protests raised concerns about militarization of local law enforcement. Again, it kind
Yeah.
of freaks people out. Just
It does.
Kind of this intense, like, wait a minute,
But
are
you-
we not allowed?
It's hard though because you have to understand it from the law enforcement side. Like they're out there just trying to keep the peace, and like if they're overwhelmed,
And it's kind of an order.
Yeah,
Like,
if they're overwhelmed, what are they supposed to do? They got to bring out more reinforcements,
Yeah.
and that sometimes means those scary looking vehicles and that kind of stuff, right?
It does suck because it's like their protection too. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Because people are nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Like they instantly go to just like aggression.
Yeah,
Like,
can you imagine
weird.
being a white cop in 2014 in Ferguson, Missouri?
Yeah.
Oh,
And you're
you'd
just
be
like,
freaked
I'm
out.
just doing as
Yeah.
I'm told and
Yeah.
trying to protect people. Yeah, you are not going to be.
And
like,
you understand, the protesters too. So it's
Exactly.
like it's a whole thing that's not a good situation.
No. And Ferguson actually became a symbol of racial injustice. This is where Black Lives Matter
Mm-hmm.
movement kind of came forth.
Came forth.
Came about.
Yes.
January 6th, 2021.
Boy.
Yeah, so
This one's fun.
Yeah. So this was the Capitol lockdown, restriction
Mm-hmm.
movement, armed response in the nation's capital. Craziest thing I've ever witnessed.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Fueled by unsubstantiated claims of widespread election fraud and incitement from political leaders, large crowd converged on the U.S. Capitol building. Don't even really have to explain much about this.
You guys
like,
know what
people
this
have
is.
seen
Yeah.
what happened with this, and still, like to this day, there's oh my gosh, what a
Wasn't
mess.
great.
So
in fact,
you
I
can
have
see-
friends who got arrested because of this.
Yeah,
A friend,
That's right. Yep.
which is crazy.
No,
and
very
was
much.
pardoned by Trump.
he was.
Isn't that crazy?
That
It's
is
just
so
a nutty
crazy to
deal.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was going to be in prison for 6 years or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But
Yep.
yeah. And then just recently, and we'd mentioned this, maybe still going on at this point, the Los Angeles immigration riots. Escalated protests following the Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE raids transformed into widespread riots.
My name is Ice.
Indicating a deep-seated anger and frustration within the community. So you've seen like freeway blockades, looting, graffiti, destruction. I mean, people are like destroying the town, breaking, stealing,
Looting. They like to loot.
Yeah, for somehow this is helping.
Yeah.
So in waving their flags, and it's just weird to me that it's happening on home soil, right?
Yeah.
And then, like you were saying, the deployment of the National Guard needed to take place because they were overwhelmed. 700 Marines under presidential order, I don't know if it's probably more than that,
Yeah, I don't know, man.
underscores the severity of the situation. And when these start showing up, like people get even more pissed and concerned, and it's just chaos. Already an estimated 134 million costs reflect the significant economic damage caused by looting and property destruction.
Everyone's
So
taking
it's
all
like,
those Jordans.
you're
Like
just
that's like
destroying everything.
4 stolen Jordans is
Yeah.
100 million.
So it just shuts everything down, businesses and loss of money for that and damages. Like it just can happen at any point. I mean,
Yeah.
every year. I don't think I've ever seen a year lately
No.
we haven't gone through a year without something like this happening. Some real actual martial law examples.
Yeah.
Not the stuff that we've been talking about that we normally see. I mean, this is when it really becomes like a huge lockdown. This happened in Hawaii in 1941 after Pearl Harbor. Following Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, the military took control of the government, courts, and police.
Oh my gosh. How
Civilians were tried in military tribunals. Public gatherings were restricted and strict curfew was enforced. That's intense, man.
It's super intense. It lasted almost 3 years.
Did it last that long? Holy
That's
crap.
insane to me. What a crazy time to be alive.
Yeah.
In the 40s.
Yeah.
Like one of probably the most crazy time ever.
Really? And it,
So nuts.
yeah. So,
we talk about obviously everything's getting worse. Jesus on his way back. But look, the 40s were pretty bonkers, if you
were.
ask me.
They were.
I don't want to live there.
30s, 40s, like all of that.
Give
It's
me
like,
the
look at
50s.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then 1992 Rodney King riots.
Can we just all get along?
After 4
Yeah.
LAPD officers were acquitted after beating Rodney King to death.
No, he didn't
again,
die.
riots.
Yeah.
Didn't he die?
No, he did
Oh,
not
I thought he
die.
did die.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
die.
Man, that's how
He did
good I
not
know
die.
history. Over 60 people were killed. So,
Yeah,
He
that's
didn't
a lot.
die.
No, but other people did.
but after
yeah.
all the riots started because of this martial law, thousands injured. California National Guard and U.S. Marines were deployed. Martial law powers were enacted. Curfews, mass arrests, shoot on sight orders in some areas. and it took days to restore order.
Yeah, Rodney didn't die till 2012.
Oh, wow. I don't know why I thought he did. Basically.
I was like, right? He didn't die. Yeah, because he was at he definitely didn't die.
Well, sorry.
No, that's why I
He
was.
did it.
You had me second guessing myself. That's why I had to look it up.
It makes,
I had to
that
look
makes
it up.
sense.
Yeah.
And then in Thailand in 2014, I actually didn't know much about this one. The Royal Thai Army launched a coup and immediately declared martial law nationwide. TV stations were shut down, political gatherings were banned, armed soldiers patrolled the streets. Civilians could be detained without charge.
Yeah,
That's what's creepy about the whole thing is like,
a coup can happen,
if they
man.
just hate you,
Yeah.
or if somebody has a personal vendetta against you, like they can use this and just take you out. And
Absolutely.
that's what's scary about the whole thing. Is like you can't trust every human.
No, martial law's kind of crazy.
So yeah,
It's
it
scary.
actually has happened multiple times in history, and it didn't go over very well.
No, it's never usually does. But here's the whole point of what we're talking about here. You have to have a response plan. As a prepper, even as a casual prepper, you have to understand how to respond to this stuff and how to get through it safely. And the number one thing I think with all of this is situational awareness, right? Most people get caught in unrest because they just weren't paying attention, right? They're looking at Facebook and walking down the street and they walk directly into a riot or something.
yeah.
They're just dumb. Or they don't think about it, or they're like, I need my Starbucks. I don't care.
Yeah.
So they got to go into Starbucks, right? You need to be understanding the things that are happening around you, especially if you live in cities where these things happen. You need to follow the local news. You need to have emergency alerts on your phone. And in these cases, actually, social media can help you understand the severity of some of that stuff. Watch what's going on social media. You'll be able to see stuff there way before you will anywhere else. So keep an eye on those things. But there are some warning signs that you can have in mind just, to know when some of these things might be popping up. Obviously, if there is a planned protest, that in itself isn't something that's bad, but it is a catalyst a lot of times for these things. So if there's a planned protest downtown this day and you have the choice to go there or not, you gotta
if you're
understand.
Interested in being part of that, which is fine.
Yes.
You have to expect like it could turn into complete chaos and civil unrest.
And if you don't want to be a part of it, then just avoid the area, right?
Yeah.
So you need to understand that is one of the warning signs that things could be happening. In viral videos, those types of things, political decisions or law enforcement actions likely to spark tension. So if there are things going on where there's a decision to be made, a law is going to be passed, or all those types of things, understand what the consequences of that could be, especially in your local area, if those things have in the past, done things like this, sparked riots. So you need to have some tools that you're going to use. Local emergency alert systems. I think this is so important. Usually your local emergency manager will have some sort of a system that they use to alert people, and sign up for it. It's the most important one that you can sign up for because it is actually being triggered by your local emergency managers. And so that is so important. You can use things like police scanner apps that can help you keep apprised of those types of things. The FEMA app can help you. I mean, really any of the emergency apps are great for this. And then social media, Twitter or X, can break news faster than anything else can. So it's a good way to keep up on these things. And again, the most important tip, if you don't live in or near a high-risk area, just don't go there. Avoidance is really the number one safety tactic when it comes to civil unrest.
Yeah.
It just stay away from the area. You know what I mean? Don't go there. Having a get-home plan is very important in these situations as well. Riots and roadblocks can break out really fast, and you need to have a reliable way to get home. So a lot of times they'll block off the road that you take to go home. So you have to have a way, alternate routes, right? Have at least 3 alternate routes from your home, from your work, from school, or any of these other daily locations that you go, so that you know how to take some alternate routes to get to your places. Avoid major highways, obviously. Those are the first ones to clog up or to get closed. And then understand that your entire family has to know these things. It can't just be you. Your wife or your husband and your kids need to understand this too. And this is, I think, where the emergency plan comes in. Everybody has a copy of that, and it should lay out some of these things. Go to Mad Gear Co., get one of theirs. They're they're exactly what you need to get. And then, have a secondary meetup point if home isn't an option, because a lot of times you live in suburbs, but these types of things can bleed into the suburbs, especially if you're on, the cusp of a big city. So you have to have a secondary meetup point because sometimes home is just not going to be safe. But sometimes home is probably the safest option. But when you are there, you have to be ready to stay there to stay safe in your home. It's really important. So you have to have some things that allow your home to be functional without outside support for a certain amount of time, 3 days, up to 3 or 4 days probably in these situations. So you have to have the essentials. And we talk about these things constantly. Food and water at your home. In our opinion, a minimum of 2 weeks per person is what you should shoot for. But even if you're doing the bare minimum that FEMA says, which is 3 days, that's better than nothing.
Yeah.
3 days, up to 2 weeks. I mean, obviously, we want to say a year or 6 months is fantastic. But food and water, so you do not have to go out if these things are happening near Walmart or Smith's or whatever, right? You don't want to go out.
And 2 weeks is huge and doable for most.
It is, yeah.
Start there.
You can do it pretty cheaply.
3 days seems too short nowadays.
It does. A lot of times with these riots and protests, there could be power outages because of all the craziness that's happening. So have blackout supplies. I mean, this is good for all situations, but, flashlights and lanterns and candles, solar chargers and battery banks, all of those things can keep you going when the power goes out and you don't want to leave the house because of these things. And then I think the most important thing here is security, because if these riots bleed into your neighborhood, you want to feel like you're secure in your home and you don't have to leave. Yeah. You don't want to have to bug out. You want to be able to stay there. So if you have some good security, you're going to be fine, right? Reinforced doors and windows. Don't just have the cheapo locks on the doorknob. You need to have deadbolts, and you can reinforce those deadbolts, and you can reinforce the windows. They have the film, or they have all that kind of stuff. Motion lights really help. Fences with locked gates. Cameras are super nice to have because you can see what's going on outside without actually sticking your head out and getting your head blown off or whatever. And then being gray man about all these things are going to help you as well. But if the grid's down in these situations, others are going to be super desperate. So do your best not to stand out. And that's a whole nother gray man thing here. Don't have your generators blaring. Yeah. In the middle of the night or whatever. That's just going to bring attention to you. So just understand the best ways to use those preps. A lot of times people will get caught in these things because they're trying to drive through them. And there's a lot of different theories on what's best here, but I'm not really going to get into that other than I think
It's always tough. Yeah.
Yeah, your vehicle should be prepped.
Yeah.
Because if you get stuck there or, if you have to get out of the vehicle, you want to have gear in there to help you get through this stuff. So obviously, keep your gas tank half full at all times, especially when these things are going on in your city, because you don't want to get caught somewhere and, the fuel's gone or you run out of gas somewhere.
Yeah.
And now you're in the middle of this riot and you have to walk out.
I always feel like it seems more scary to me being in a vehicle with a riot around you.
Yeah, it is kind of scary.
Than being out in it.
Yeah. I don't know.
You would think
I don't know
you'd
what's
be
best.
safer inside the car, but it almost seems like they attack it. They feel like you're a weapon. They feel like
Could be.
It's just kind of terrifying.
Yeah, you got to decide what's best there. But I do think no matter what, you have to have your vehicle prepped. Yeah. And then basic vehicle EDC stuff, right? Have water and snacks, and have power banks and chargers, gloves and multi-tools. First aid kits are essential in your vehicle. Copies of key documents, emergency cash, all of those things. And then maybe if you have to run home and you can't use your car, some sort of get home bag is obviously the best, but some other things you can just have in your vehicle is like good walking shoes or a hat or a beanie and window breaker and seatbelt cutters, all those types of things. Being aware of the legality of these things is going to help you as well. Understanding what martial law is, what the government can and can't do, is going to be huge. You have to understand the curfews and the checkpoints and the travel restrictions and the warrantless searches. Understand what they are, because if you know your rights, it's going to help you. Your rights change, yeah. And if you resist and it is martial law, it's not going to work out well for you. You have to understand what's going on. Then again, don't provoke law enforcement. I mean, it's just not going to help you.
That's the hard thing too. It's like they can't differentiate very well.
No,
like they're paranoid. And it's like you're not going to go up to him and be like, "I'm not part of this. Let me through."
Let me. Yeah, they
They're
don't
gonna
care.
probably club you in the head.
Yeah, so just keep your distance and don't provoke. It's not going to help you, even if you're pissed off at them. I get it.
Yeah.
I think your safety in these situations is more important than making a point to a random cop that's not going to give a shit.
Exactly.
They're not going
Especially
to care.
during that.
They're not going to care. Cash on hand is going to be huge here because ATMs may be offline or, they might have been looted. That's very possible. So keep some small bills in your home and your car and your EDC kits and your bug out bags and get home bags, 1s, 5s, and 10s. That way you can easily grab stuff if you need to. A lot of people say you can even diversify this with like gas station gift cards and prepaid Visa cards and, precious metals if you want. But I think that's definitely
Nobody
secondary.
likes a gift card, even in a riot.
Yeah, it's like, here, take my damn gift card. I don't
I
want
hate
this
those
thing.
things, man.
Yeah.
They never work.
They don't. And then understand that gray man mindset.
That's going to insult people more than anything.
The gift card lobby's coming at
Give
us
me all you got
right now.
Here's my gift card. Never
Never mind, I don't want it.
Knock you out right there.
Kill you. The gray man mindset is huge. You need to be able to blend in, don't provoke. No tactical, don't go out in your tactical vest and carrying your AR. Like, just don't wear the MAGA hat out here or the, Democrat vagina hat or whatever they wear. It's not going to help in this situation. Neutral clothing, gray man stuff, backpack, and demeanor.
No makeup, ugly, Jenko jeans.
I'm almost there. Be forgettable. Move with purpose. Stay invisible. No makeup, Jinkos, hook hands, microwaves. All of those things are...
look the part.
Look the part.
Don't look attractive.
That's right.
Don't look like, business suit in the middle of a riot. No, not going to work.
Not going to work, yeah. So
Unless
some extra
it's like
tips.
A Joker looking type of.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Dancing down the stairs or something.
They're like, okay,
yeah,
he's part of it.
He's with us.
He's the leader.
He's with us. Have a fire extinguisher handy because fire seems to be a common theme.
Does.
During riots. Everything's on
like
fire.
To start fires,
Yep. If you're in a high-risk zone, consider boarding supplies or shatter-resistant window film on your home or your store or wherever you're at. And then, think about some scenarios. What if unrest hits while you're at the store? What if it happens at the school pickup? Which always feels like civil unrest at the school pickup to me. Or what if you're traveling? All those things, be considerate and think about them beforehand. And then I wanted to talk about real quick, a riot response kit. Especially if you live in a place like LA or New York or Chicago or, all the places where these things happen more frequently.
Sound like Matthew McConaughey.
Did it? Chicago.
Chicago.
I get older. They say. Some things like these aren't just like fancy gadgets or fantasy gadgets. This is like practical gear to help you stay safe in a riot.
Yeah.
N95 mask. This will help you tear gas, smoke, dust, and coronavirus. Right, Cam?
Yeah.
It also helps you blend in during protests. They can't see your face, right? So that's one of the things. Shatter-resistant eye protection. Clear or tinted safety glasses because there is stuff spraying everywhere in these things.
You're just going to look like a construction crew walking through the riot.
Exactly. Ball cap or a beanie. This is, again, keeps you more gray man. You can have a bandana or shamag. This can be used as a dust filter, a sling, a sweat rag, signaling cloth. Put it over someone's face and take them into the alley. Whatever you got to do. Earplugs. All right, there's a lot of sirens. There's like flashbangs. I
want to hear this.
There's flashbangs.
Walking right through the middle of the riot.
Curse words being screamed. You don't want to hear that stuff, so you can put those in.
Kids, earmuffs.
Earmuffs. A compact flashlight with strobe mode. So that's great for blackouts and garages or signaling, or you can disorient the people coming at you, the police. The power bank and cable, obviously you have to keep your phone alive. Comms are so important. And this can help you do that. First aid kits, obviously. You're going to get hurt.
You're going to get scraped and burned.
It won't fix it.
Yeah.
Gloves, nitrile for medical use, work gloves for,
I'm wearing all this
stuff.
if I ever get caught in a riot.
I just wear this normally to work, all this stuff. Cash, we talked about
Safer.
that already. Yeah, it's just
You already have it. It's your regular daily wear.
It's just in my truck. Why not just put it on? A printed map in case GPS goes down and you're dumb and you don't know how to get home or anything like that. Emergency contact card. This is actually something I know like 2 numbers, maybe 3.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
And I need to have them written down somewhere. I have no idea what your number
from
is.
childhood.
I have no idea
I
what
don't
your
know
number
any
is.
modern ones. Yeah,
I don't know your number. I know my wife's number. I know my dad's number.
I have 2 in my phone for you. I don't know why.
Oh,
and so
yeah, you have
I
to
just
know
have
which
to go
one.
back to the text, and I'm like, hope this is him.
Yeah, you need to get rid of that other one.
I don't know what it is.
Multi-tool.
It's Colby.
Colby.
With an L.
It's the other guy. Yeah. And some snacks and a water bottle. Those are some things you can consider to put in your kit. I think are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
It was good stuff.
You know what else you could do before that?
What?
Get some Mad Gear. The name you trust for preparedness. And they have what's called the Ready Plan app. Just like a renowned contingency planner, it helps you prepare for hurricanes, power outages, and unexpected emergencies. The Ready Plan app digitizes the essential process. Organize every detail from specific condition responses and communication plans to evacuation routes and gear checklists. This is great for riot preparedness. You have the app on your phone, all securely stored and accessible on your device. Plus, easily share plans and coordinate with your family or preparedness group, ensuring everyone is on the same page. This is more than an app. It's your dynamic guide to readiness, built with the same step-by-step logic found in our physical planners, which you can have as well. Developed by the family and veteran-owned Mad Gear, Ready Plan ensures your critical information is always within reach and readily shareable. Don't wait for a crisis. Visit your app store and download Ready Plan by Mad Gear today. Ready, set, plan. Ready Plan by Mad Gear, redefining preparedness for when SHTF, a riot.
A riot, I see, yeah.
Use our code Casual Peppers for a discount.
Do it.
Yes, please
Stuff's
do.
great, man.
So here's our challenge for this.
Get some Jinkos.
Yeah. Map out 3. Yeah, exactly. Learn to take your makeup off, wear Jinkos, shave your head.
We should have put makeup wipes in our kit.
We should have. That's a good
Pull
idea.
off the makeup. Yeah.
Or just splash water infest and let it all run.
Yeah.
They're like,
Oh,
they've been
that's-
crying, been tear gassed.
Yeah. They've already been tear gassed. They're one of us.
Yeah. So map out 3 alternate routes from your work, school, or most common location back to your home
McDonald's.
without using highways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Common location, McDonald's. You know you're there twice a week, 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
In a real civil unrest event, interstates and main roads are often the first to get blocked, shut down, and patrolled. So you really need to know these alternate routes. So whether it be coming home from work or picking up your kid, where your kids, look through and make 3 alternate routes from work, school, and other locations that you commonly frequent.
It's a good idea.
Like McDonald's.
Yeah, like McDonald's.
Bonus points. Identify one public place to avoid.
McDonald's.
Yeah. Dang it, it's the same place.
The same place.
And then stash a small emergency kit in your vehicle that includes water, snacks, phone charger, cash.
We just talked
those
about
things
all that
we
stuff.
just went through.
So, it's great for a riot, but it's great for all other stuff too.
Yeah.
So just get it.
Take a picture of your route map so we know it and we can help you out.
Send it to us.
Bug out bag or car kit and tag us. #stay survived. Just keep it a secret. We won't tell anybody.
We won't
about
tell
it.
nobody.
But yeah, that's a good idea.
It is,
you really should have a good alternate plan from where you're at most often and how to get home without using the main roads.
Yeah.
That's as simple as that.
Simple.
Okay.
We have the latest battle box cam. Are we excited?
I am. I
We're
actually
always
think
excited.
this is a really good one.
This is a great box, isn't it? This is number 124. Issue 124. We have the Honey Badger's Bee Farm Cowboy Coffee. I don't understand. It's like raw honey infused with coffee beans.
With bears.
Bears.
Honey Badger, Bee Farm, Bear, Cowboy, Cotton, Army Farm.
That's right.
They got every name in it.
Delicious. Yeah. Then we got the Speed Hook Emergency Fishing and Hunting Kit. I don't know how you're going to hunt with it, but you could definitely fish with it.
It's like a snare.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. It's like spring loaded. Catch a fish right off the bat.
Delicious. Yuko Switch Spork. So this is one of them where you got a fork and a spoon on each
It's a
side.
nice little kit.
Yeah, you can't ever have enough of those because
No,
you're gonna
you really
lose them.
can't.
Ready Wise Country Style Chicken Pot Pie, baby. It's
Ready
food,
Wise,
man.
I've been super impressed
They
with
got
the
good
taste
stuff.
of all their stuff. Super good.
The UST Flexware Sink. This is great for camping and bugging
It's
out.
insane. Like, who sends you
A sink.
full size Tupperware
Everything in a kitchen sink.
Battle box
Battle
does.
box, baby. How about the UST 30-day Duro 1000 LED lantern?
Lanaran.
30-day.
Wow.
If you put it on low, it'll last for like 30 days.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. 25 lumens, 30 days.
Yeah. Pretty cool, huh?
Pretty cool. 1,000 lumens is max. That'll last
that
12
ain't
hours.
gonna last that long. Greater Goods vacuum sealer machine, dude. They sent us a
I'm
vacuum
super
sealer.
Excited about that.
Yeah, Cam's gonna vacuum seal everything.
Yep, I
I'm
am.
excited about it. And then the Ruckin' River
My
Kusa.
bug out bag. The whole thing's gonna be vacuum sealed.
That's like not a bad idea. Ruckin' River Kusa knife set. And then there's a dead fish roll, which is kind of
I'm not opening that.
Nah,
It's
but
pretty
it's
sweet,
cool though. It's good
really
stuff.
Cool.
Use our code
That's
Casual
a lot
Preppers.
of stuff,
It's
man.
good stuff. Use our code Casual Preppers. You get 15% off. Anyways, that is civil unrest, martial law. The Collapse Chronicles rolls on. I couldn't remember what it was called. We're gonna keep rolling, right,
Yeah,
Cam?
yeah.
'Kay.
But seriously, check out those routes. Get it planned
Get
out
done. 'Kay.
and stay safe.
Stay survived.